Marcus, you and Jalen said a shoot around today. Don't let us win one. Obviously, just one game, but now what?
Now we just got to go win another. That's all that matters. We take it one game at a time. We understand. The odds are stacked against us, but we're a team that believes in us no matter what, and we just got to keep going. And all that matters is the next game.
Like right now, obviously we underperformed in the last 3 games, and you start to hear all these stories come out about X, Y, and Z. Who knows where they actually come from? And 99% of them is not true at all. So, we wanted to stay together, and I think that was the emphasis last night before we played today, was make sure we was on the same page. We didn't want to come out and lay an egg. We wanted to come out and play together. Want to come out, trust each other, come out, play some defense, have some pride about yourself, and find a way to win a game.
Yeah, we just, everybody was in good spirits, right? Everybody was upbeat. And, as cliche as it sounds, we just tried to take it one game at a time. We tried to break it down of, we didn't play well those first 3 games. We didn't deserve to win. But, we didn't want that to define us, define the season. And we still got a long uphill battle to go. But tonight was a good start, right? And, just try to carry this momentum towards Thursday.
Jimmy, it's only one loss, obviously, but is there any concern on your part that this could start to build momentum on the Boston side of things?
No. If anything, it'll build momentum for us, knowing that we have to play with a lot more energy. And, we got to play like our backs are against the wall. But I think all year long we've been better and ready to do things the hard way.
All right, Rita, let's just start off with this. We know who's been working on biceps in the gym. Okay, Jimmy. We get it.
Not me. Not me.
And you two, you and Jimmy with the flex, just like, I just decided to put this tank on. What, and every now and then, his biceps, they just kind of flex on their own. Yep. They kind of have their own language. Last night at the free throw line, I'm going to talk about Celtics Heat, obviously, off the top, but last night I was watching him at the free throw line, and he knows the cameras are on him. He's just sitting there at the line, and he's holding the ball for an extra second, and then he just kind of, because I got biceps too, he just kind of gives it an extra little. He gave a little extra pop. We know. You are a supremely conditioned, unbelievably, remarkably conditioned athlete. And I wouldn't say the Celtics are in a remarkable position right now, Rita, but now we know they have life. Yeah. Because this is all I don't know what you took from last night. This is what I took from last night. They still want to play. That's all I can say last night meant. They still want to play basketball because after game 3, I wasn't sure if a lot of them had summer homes in Miami, and hey, we're here already. We're already down zip 3. Let's just wrap this thing up in 48 minutes. Can't take it to overtime. 48 minutes is our maximum tonight, and then we'll go home swept away for the season. So now we know the Celtics want to play. And I ask you, Reeta Hubbard, the NFL chick, what's next? Now what?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm glad that they showed up. Thank you, I guess, in an elimination game that you absolutely needed to keep your season alive. But where were you the other 3 games? You are the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. The Heat didn't even win one of their first play-in games. Like, they're the 8th seed. And yet they are overachieving and they wanted more than you. As Boston, you're clearly the more talented team, and yet you have looked like you're the 8th seed and they're the 2 seed. They're being out-coached. They're being outplayed. I mean, I'm glad that they're here, that they finally decided to get off the bus because it gave us some entertainment value. Of course, when I said, I'm not going to watch this game because I'm not going to even put myself in this position. Of course, they find a way to win the game, but ultimately, it really comes down to what Jason Tatum has been able to do in elimination games. Apparently, when he's up under for elimination, he has these phenomenal games, even better than his regular season games. So it appears that you have to really put the pressure on them for them to maximize their potential, because we know that they're their own worst enemy. And I've always said this about the Celtics, because the talent is absolutely there. Obviously, coaching, we put a lot of pressure on Mazzulla because of the situation that he's been thrown into after what happened this offseason. But the players still play, and they should have been able to easily find a way to overcome something sooner than game 4, right? So the question is now, do you win 3 straight? And I like the ideal that one of the players said, in which, look, we got to take this one game at a time. We can't really say, I'm going to find a way to string 3. You just got to do the next one. And then when you win that one, because you're going to be at home for game 5, obviously. And then you got to find a way for the next one. Now, obviously, that's going to be in Miami. So that's going to be a little bit harder. But then you can say, hey, look, we had a game 4 in Miami and we had to win that game. So now we can find a way to do this again, but one game at a time. But is it too little too late is what I'm concerned about.
Right. And I think, I've said this before about NBA playoff series. I like when people stop being fake. I mean, I just like that in relationships anyway. Stop being fake. And then what are you really like? I've always, when I start my dating business, when I help people out, that's down the road. When I start my dating business, I'm going to advise people on the first date. I'm going to just get right there. First date or second date, let's just get right in there. You need to ask this potential candidate, what are you like when you're crazy? What are you like when you're mad? I want to see you at your worst, because now you're being all nice. Everything's all nice. What are you like when you really get pissed off? And so I think what we're about to see is the real Celtics and the real Heat, because, Rita, I'm telling you, they don't really respect one another. They don't. They're giving lip service to it. When they went up 3-0, Erik Spoelstra said, we have deep respect for them. No, you don't. You're lying. You're lying. No, you don't. You don't have deep respect for them. And then the Celtics are in this position because they didn't have respect for the Miami Heat. They're down 3-1 because they've looked down on them. Like, oh my God, we're just going to come in here and we're going to beat you in 5 games because you're not that good. You don't belong here. We do. And so they don't really have respect for them. And this goes back. It's not just these 2 current teams. It goes back. I looked this up earlier today. I was like, am I remembering this right? Did Pat Riley 10 years ago really put out a statement? Think about this, Rita, a corporate statement. Who writes this on corporate letterhead? Saying about somebody else, you need to shut the F up. So Pat Riley wrote that about the Celtics and Danny Ainge. Danny said something about LeBron with the Heat. He was on the Heat. Pat Riley heard about it, released a statement through the team's communications department. Danny Ainge needs to shut the F up and worry about his own team. Look it up. Fact check me on this. And he said, he's just a whiner. I know it because he was like that when he played. Ooh. So like LeBron and Paul Pierce, when LeBron was with Miami, like this goes back. And so game 5 is really going to come out, especially if the Celtics win game 5.
Yeah.
Because if the Celtics win game 5, that's when I say it's a series. It's not a series yet. It's a series if they win game 5.
I agree with that. I mean, at the end of the day, right, I feel like it's not on life support anymore. The series is not on life support anymore. We found a way to resuscitate the series and get a heartbeat out of the Boston Celtics in this regard. But I agree with you. Game 5 is really going to tell us if the Celtics are really back in the fold of this thing, or if that was just, we got to find a way to will our way through it. But for me, I really feel like, Holly, that you have to find a way to get Jason Tatum to be the alpha guy. When he's the person that is on fire, when he's the one that's leading the way, I feel like Boston is in the best position to win. And of course, we saw that from him last night. And so I'm curious to know why that wasn't something that they weren't necessarily implementing consistently throughout the series to begin with. I mean, I'm glad that you finally found a way to get him to be the one that's the intricate part of what you were trying to do. But I don't know why it took you to literally have your backs to the wall to do that. So I would think that this will be the blueprint moving forward, because when Jason Tatum is on, he told you himself, I'm considered one of the greatest basketball players in the world, and he's not wrong. But I think that you have to let him be the person to guide you through this, right? Because he's the one that's going to put you in a better position to win that series. But I agree with you. I like the realness. I like authenticity, which is why I like Jimmy Butler a lot, because I feel like that he is very authentic. Right. So if y'all don't like each other, you ain't gotta lie to us. You ain't gotta lie, Craig.
Don't lie.
Okay? Tell us the truth. If play like it too. Right. How about you play like it too? Show us, give us a little razzle dazzle while you out there. If y'all don't care for each other in real life, because we like all the drama that also comes along with things that goes on the court.
See, I'm going to be the fair arbitrator here. As I arbitrate this case, the case of Heat v. Celtics, I'm going to try to be a fair arbitrator and say, now you said off the top that the Heat are an 8 seed. Okay, an 8 seed in number only. Right. But they were here last year. Yep. It was Celtics versus Heat. And the Heat, not only were they here last year, they had home court advantage last year. So I would say, you say if the Celtics underachieved, I'd say the Heat underachieved in the regular season for a number of reasons, injuries, whatever it is, trying to find their way. And now they're properly achieving. And the Celtics have underachieved a bit in the series, but I'm going to say that's maybe 60% them and 40% Miami. I need to put some respect on Denver's name. I'm going to put some respect on Miami's name. They do have, if I'm just going head to head, they've got the better head coach.
Yep.
Sorry, Joe Mazzulla, Erik Spoelstra. He's in not only he left the graduate program about 5 years ago. Now he's on his second doctorate, his second coaching doctorate. Okay, so they got the superior coach in Erik Spoelstra. Although I think Jason Tatum is a better player than Jimmy Butler, first team All-NBA guy, second team All-NBA guy, and Jimmy Butler, first team Tatum. In big game situations, wow. Jimmy Butler has been incredible. Jimmy Butler has been better this postseason than most NBA players. Mm-hmm. He's been better than everybody. Jokic, all those triple doubles. Jokic and Jimmy Butler are in the same conversation in the postseason. So you add that in, and then you talk about knowing who they are and the ability to close quarters and close games and not melting down in the final 2 or 3 minutes. These details matter when you get later in the season. So I don't think it's just a matter of, the Celtics messed around. Now that they're focused, they're going to run off 3 more victories. The Miami Heat have something to do with Boston's problems. It's not just all Boston. You agree?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like, the Heat has been the most consistent team outside of the Nuggets this entire, postseason. They've been who they've been, and it's worked for them. They haven't had a lot of ebbs and flows. They haven't had a lot of inconsistencies, and that's why they're in the position that they're in. And I know that a lot of people don't really love to give coaches a lot of respect in the NBA, because a lot of people feel like players are the ones that really drive, how they win games. But I really want to shout out Coach Spo. I really feel like he's a big part of what they do. I think that he had changed some things and started using some analytics in addition to his coaching, and it's really helped what they've done. And, you still don't have your full starting 5. You don't have Tyler Hero. So you're still being able to do this. And I believe Hero is their 3rd leading scorer on the Heat. So, you're able to do all of these things without all of your guys. Yes, Jimmy Butler has been phenomenal, but in addition to Jimmy Butler, Coach Spo, I think, has also been able to keep these guys afloat and keep these guys consistent at what they do best. To me, that is the difference. And maybe one day Mazzulla will get there, and maybe this series will help him grow up in that regard, right? Time will still tell. We still got, at least one more game to see how this will go. But for now, the expert, the one who's been there and done that, is showing the youngin', hey, this is how you do it when you have talent. This is how you get the best out of your guys. And that's what's happening
I'm so glad you said that about Erik Spoelstra. I mean, he comes from, he's got NBA bloodlines, and not on the court, but off the court. I think his father was in Portland back in the day, working in basketball operations, John Spoelstra. And so Erik is really, he's like a film nut. I mean, he's a video game guy. He's a video coordinator guy. That's how he got started. And so he is a guy who is used to kind of scrutinizing what a team does and breaking it down. Like one of those people, I'm not one of them, but one of those people who like to take things apart to see how they work and then put them back together again. Once I take them apart, it's done. And once they're apart, I can't put it back together. Okay, I'm not that guy. But he is like that. And I think it really gives his team, whatever team he's coaching, and for his career has been the Miami Heat, it gives them an advantage. And the best thing I can say about him, this is what you got a really good coach. He gets the maximum out of the roster. So if the roster is supposed to win 45, he'll win 45 or maybe even 48. If it's supposed to win 50, he'll win 55 or 60. He gets the maximum out of it. And he's a Pat Riley guy too. I mean, really, if you think about Heat culture, Rita, Heat culture, like people will try to define what it is. I was thinking about this earlier. Heat culture is really what Pat Riley did with the Knicks.
Yeah.
So Pat Riley with the Knicks, they had one superstar. Number 1 overall pick, Patrick Ewing. Add another lottery pick to it. It's Charles Oakley. So Patrick Ewing back in the day, now that's Jimmy Butler. Other lottery pick, it was Oakley back in the day. Now it's Bam Adebayo. Then you get a bunch of dudes who are kind of a-holes. Okay? and they got a little edge, and they're mad. They're on their 4th or 5th team. They weren't drafted. Somebody didn't believe in them. Some coach, some media member, and they just walk around with an edge. So there's Gabe Vincent and Strus. Strus was cut by the Celtics. The Celtics picked Taco Fall over Max Strus. Taco Fall's out of the league. Max Strus playing the conference finals. They picked a couple of guys over him, Taco Fall and Javonte Green. You're not familiar? Right. Got it. That's the point. So he's mad. So you got Vincent, you got Strus, you got Duncan Robinson, you got Caleb, all these dudes. They're just mad.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they go out there and they play with an edge and they know who they are.
Yep.
That's what Heat culture is. They know who they are. They don't expect anything. They're not entitled. They just want to come in and drink up all your liquor. And put their feet on your couch.
My favorite people are the scrappy people that feel like they got something to prove. They are my favorite people. They're always going to find a way to overachieve. Always. Or at least, at the very least, be a part of what it is that you're trying to do from a winning perspective.
I like that, but those are the hardest people to joke around with, too. Because you want to joke around with them like, what you mean? Hey, what you mean by that? So what you saying? Hey, it's just a joke. I mean, it's just, I love you. It's just I'm just joking. Can you laugh? True. You don't laugh. I know you achieve.
When it's time to pull them bootstraps, they're going to pull them up, though. When it's time to go to work, they're going to go to work.
But it's always time to go to work for them. They don't relax.
Yep.
It's always work time for them. Take the edge off and get your feet off my couch. All right, this story, the more I think about it, I mean, I gave it some seriousness. I really gave it the thought that was necessary because it was a news story. Lakers get swept by the Denver Nuggets. LeBron goes to his press conference, said, I got a lot to think about. To be honest with you, he said. To be honest, got a lot to think about with basketball. Then he tells Dave McMenamin, yeah, retirement's on the table. I mean, I got to think about it. So I gave it the weight that it needed, Kurt Helin and Rita. Then I started thinking about it some more. Okay, LeBron, Nike, Spring Hill, he's a show person. there is going to be no retirement under the radar. This is going to be a Spring Hill Nike production. They're going to have a film. They're going to audition actors. Who's going to play LeBron in our retirement film? It may be a 10-part series on Hulu. I don't know. I mean, there's going to be a writer's room involved. They're going to be costume designers, set designs. It's going to be the script. It's going to have all kinds of stuff. There's no way in hell LeBron James is just going to be, in the summer of 2023, we're going to wake up one day in June or July, and LeBron puts out a 3-word statement or 2-paragraph statement that I'm retired. Kurt, do you agree with me? I mean, there's no way. LeBron is all about the moment. He's performative. He needs attention. That's what raised by Akron, polished in LA. That's who LeBron is. He needs a production.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'd be a documentary, though. It's going to be like every week or every 2 weeks during the season. Like, it's going to be like, I don't know, Wrexham or something, where like every week on Hulu or on Peacock or wherever, stuff's just going to show up. I was in the room when he said that, and there was people looking around, and it took me about, like, is he serious? Like, does he mean that? But I pretty quickly came to the conclusion, look, man, he just played all but 40 seconds of 48 minutes at age 38. He was exhausted. He put up almost a 40-point triple-double. Had 40 points, like 1 assist short or 1 rebound short. He was frustrated, but it was also, man, to me, that was a leverage play. That was hey, Rob Pelinka, did you see what I just had to do to get us to a loss? Like, you got to go get me more help. And I think that's where look, what he was saying was, man, I can still dial this up a little, but I can't be your number one option every night, 82 games. Go get me somebody. I think it was that. It was the 1-year contracts in Cleveland. I don't think it was a retirement thing. I think you're spot on about that, though, Michael, man. There's going to be a farewell tour when it comes, isn't there?
Yep. That's what I think, too. I mean, there's no way LeBron doesn't do like a tour so people get to see him for the last time, right? As our good friend Vince Goodwill said, he called him Le Cap. You know, the young people like to say cap for everything. So he called him Le Cap James, because we know that this is not going to end the way that he's saying. But I do have a question in regarding to, you said that you feel like this is a message to Rob Pelinka and to getting some help. What would those options look like? We've seen some rumors going around about, Clutch Sports member Trae Young was at the game. Yeah. So now there's people having rumors about that. I'm curious to know what direction you think that the Lakers would go in that regard.
That is the $1 million question. And by the way, you are wise to think a Clutch client would not be at the forefront of whatever that list looks like. It's much more likely than Kyrie Irving, where I can tell you whatever LeBron thinks of bringing back Kyrie and his ability to kind of keep him in line. Laker management they've still got the scars from giving up all their assets for a third star in Russell Westbrook. They're not going to repeat that mistake. Trae Young's a little more interesting, although I've heard that that's not really where Atlanta's leaning right now. But they've got to go get somebody. It's not, look, there's like Fred VanVleet's out there. There's some shot creation guys who are free agents, but they're not really going to have the money to get those kind of guys unless they want to not bring back Austin Reeves, not bring back Rui Hachimura, the things they want to do. It's going to be a trade. It's why I think they bring Michael Beasley back to trade his salary. I think it's some kind of trade to get another. They don't need an elite shot creator. They just need somebody to be a slightly better version of what D'Angelo Russell was, or maybe they just settle on D'Angelo Russell. But something like that, isn't that ultimately what they need? LeBron can help you when it matters, but Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis. LeBron's going to miss 20 games next year because he's 39. You got to go get somebody.
Yep, that's right. So we talked about the Lakers, and this is Michael Malone's point. It was his point after game 1, game 2, and game 3. All the narrative, he's mad. All the damn narrative, y'all keep talking about the Lakers, and you say this about Jokic. Now, Rita put in her feed that Jokic is the real MVP. You said you were in the room for LeBron's comments. which means you were in crypto.com arena when you saw Jokic bull his way to the basket for the winning hoop. And you saw what he did in that series, yet another triple-double in Game 4. Was there any statement that Jokic made? Did he need to make a statement in the Western Conference Finals? How did you see it?
He doesn't play it that way. I think for his legacy that this was an important year. Like, he had to prove that beyond just being an MVP, when everybody was healthy around him, he could lift them to the next level, and he has done that. I mean, he's gotten them to the finals with, he bullied, by the way, his shot into that. And then it was vintage Jokic. He just kind of was off balance and flipped it up and you're like, somebody makes that on the playground, you're like, oh, come on, man. But he does that every time down, it seems. He got it. He got what they needed, but he doesn't really care. Everybody says, like, Joel Embiid did the whole, I don't care about the MVP, and then he's like crying when he gets it. He clearly cared. Jokic really doesn't care. If Jokic walked away from this tomorrow and just raised horses in Serbia, I think he'd be good with it.
But listen, he already has 2 MVPs, so I can understand why he's like, I mean, another one under the belt. I'm sure that winning a championship now is the next thing in line for him. And like you said, he has healthy talent around him now. Jamal Murray, obviously, killed the Lakers in the Lakers series, which really catapulted them in a big way. I know we're having conversations about what this finals could look like, and I've seen people have a conversation about what the ratings would be, and every time I see a conversation about the ratings, they've come out and people have been wrong. I saw people say, well, the Warriors aren't in the conference finals, and then you see that there was a surplus of people that watched the Western Conference Finals this year already from last year, and I do think that this is good for the NBA. You know what I mean? I feel like Jokic is a superstar. I think that this is finally the time that Denver can put themselves on the map in a list of a potential dynasty in that regard. And so whether or not the Celtics or the Heat wins, it doesn't matter. I just feel like Jokic within himself, people want to see him. He does not look aesthetically like a basketball player, but he is just extremely dominant in everything he does.
No, he really doesn't. And he's a really fun personality. He's an enjoyable. Look, it was fun watching him warm up before the game, and every team has to. If you've got a guy like Jokic, they've got to have like a 7', 6'10" guy on the training staff to just get beat up in warm-ups every day. And that guy had to step away for something, and the last shot came over like at a 6'3" assistant, like who had to go out there and try to. And Jokic backs him down, dunks over him, and then gives the assistant the too short thing and walks off the court. It was hysterical. He's out there having a blast. And I think the more they can capture that personality, I think people will warm to him. But I think where the NBA seems headed with the new CBA, with a lot of things they're doing now, is what the league you cover more has mastered. The NFL is parity. The NFL is any given Sunday. And doesn't it feel like this NBA season might be the start of the NBA doing more of that? The new CBA, where it's going to be harder to put together and maintain super teams over any stretch of time. That's the goal, I think, for Adam Silver, right? He wants some of that parity.
I don't know. I don't know if he does. I think what he wants, I think he's caught in between. I think he represents owners who want the parity, especially in smaller markets. They don't want to lose their players to LA, New York, Phoenix, Miami. So a lot of those guys don't want to lose it. But then he also is partnered with ABC, ESPN, and ratings matter to them. So parity, look, if you had this year in the NBA Finals, if you had Sacramento taking on Cleveland, it's good story. Hey, Sacramento Kings in the NBA Finals for the first time, and the Cavaliers, this young core, good basketball story. I don't know.
The difference,
Kurt, is that
the difference in that,
is that what
right?
Adam Silver wants that?
I mean, but come on, Holly. The difference, though, is that, like, we know who Jokic is, though. Like, who are we rooting for with the Cavs and Sabonis with the Kings? Like, they're not on the same level, so...
Yeah.
They do have to transition, though. I think it's something the league needs to find a way to do. Giannis is kind of a transition guy. They need Luka Doncic back on this stage. They need to get. I think they can do a better job with Jokic. Then there's, Jimmy Butler's going to be a good story if that's who it is. Jason Tatum's a good story, and the Celtics, if they come back, that's a good story. Do we really think that they're going to string together 3 games in consistent fashion like they've done all season? Because they haven't. But sure, maybe they can come back. That said, it's a good story either way, right? Yeah, they'll take the story either way, but the storylines are there. But I think they're trying to transition from LeBron, Curry, and some of the guys who just retired and Durant is kind of in that older group, to the younger generation of stars. And those stars, John Morant, Luka Doncic, where were they this postseason?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. These guys aren't stars. They're sideline stars. We talked about one of them, Erik Spoelstra, probably the best coach, not probably, the best coach remaining in these playoffs. And I like Michael Malone a lot, but Spoelstra has really proven himself over a longer period of time and has championships to back it up. But I'm wondering, what the hell is Milwaukee doing? Now, let's go back. Milwaukee fires Mike Budenholzer because they lost in the first round to the Miami Heat. So they lose in 5 games to Miami. Giannis got hurt in the series. They won the championship 2 years ago. They extended Bud, and now they fire him. And I hear Kenny Atkinson is one of the names. So hold on. So you fire Mike Budenholzer to bring in Kenny Atkinson? No disrespect, but damn. Like, what are you accomplishing?
Yeah.
If you fire Budenholzer to bring in Adrian Griffin, what's your what are you trying to do? What message have you sent to your players? I don't get it, Kurt. They probably shouldn't have fired Budenholzer.
I've heard Griffin is around in part because he's a Giannis guy. Giannis, that's a guy Giannis likes and respects, and that gets you down the road a little ways. But I think it's a fair question. Budenholzer, if you're talking about somebody like Atkinson as coming in for the Bucks, he's a Budenholzer guy. He spent 4 years on his staff in Atlanta. Like, that way, it's one of those, like,
what?
Different, and it's a different voice, but it's not actually different. That's not okay. Like, that's not, I think they've got to go with Nick Nurse. And by the way, this is where I think the coaching staff thing is. Nick Nurse is getting interviewed in Philadelphia. He's getting interviewed in Phoenix. He is getting interviewed in Milwaukee. He's about to be the belle of the ball, and he's the domino that falls, right? And then Phoenix can go and hire Doc Rivers to take them over the line, because if you want one guy to really take you that last mile, it's Doc Rivers.
Oh, we got jokes. Oh, we clowning now. Oh, we clowning.
I was like, wait a minute, this got to be sarcasm, right?
I wonder, how about Doc and Chris Paul? Did they make up? Are they cool now? Because they couldn't stand each other for a while.
I don't think it was ever that bad between them. I think that those two guys are professionals. They ought to work together. There wasn't, I don't know that they're like, I was about to say having wine together, golfing together, like Doc. I think Doc in Phoenix, they'll never practice because he'll just be on the golf course every day during practice time. But I think that, look, everybody likes Doc. I don't think that that's going to go badly. I'm just not sure if he's the guy. Kenny Atkinson's not go. I saw his name pop up in Phoenix. I'm like, really? You think Kevin Durant wants him back? Like, I'm not sure where. It's interesting to watch the guys go after Nurse now. Like, that's Nurse, and then Monty Williams might take a year off. So if he's out of the mix, then where do you go?
I feel like in terms of the situation with Doc, right, and Chris Paul, if you're winning, I feel like that's the remedy for everything. So it cures a lot of ailments. So even if there is a little bit of tension in between them, if they're doing well, then that makes everything feel better. But I think I like Nurse better though in Phoenix. So I'm hoping that's where he goes.
Nurse is the outside the box guy, right? That's why I think he makes sense for the Bucks too, or even if you want somebody who's going to do something different, it's Nurse. The other guys are a little more conventional. Nurse is the guy who's willing to break the mold to make it work.
Yeah, and the Phoenix was scaring me though. Rita, Phoenix was scaring me because the new owner, the rookie, the one who was like trying to troll Jokic by hold on to the ball, rookie, didn't like Monty Williams from the start.
Who doesn't like Monty Williams?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, strange.
Wasn't his
Watch
guy,
out for him. What?
But also too, right? Like, wasn't his guy? I mean, so now he gets to pick his own guy. But whoever comes in for Phoenix, I hope that they are able to do, if this is the same roster, which I don't think it would be. I would hope that they can do more less because
that's going to change. Aiden's gone, maybe Chris Paul. It's going to be very different.
Yeah, gotta be.
Well. So on the way out, Kurt Helin, we need to know. Now you already threw it out there that it's gonna be it's a long road for Boston to come back against Miami. Your prediction for when and how this series ends? Is it end tomorrow night?
Game 6. No, maybe because it's Jimmy Butler and that guy just does not fear the road. But I think it's Game 6. They get back home and Jimmy's just like, I've had enough of this. They get a Bam game. Gabe Vincent's ankle is all the way back, and that's the game. I'm going 6 now.
All right. You got Heat in 6. Which was a controversial prediction at the beginning of the series. Now,
probably a little bit of what I had before the series.
Yeah, right.
I jumped off real fast.
I think my Celtics in 5 is not happening, man.
I just tweaked my calf, and it's good photos there. Just tweaked my calf in the a little pre-practice conditioning, so I decided to take a vet day.
They keep you down a while, or a short
time? I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's too serious. I haven't been to OTAs in the last couple of years, so it's been nice to kind of be out here, be in the meetings, speak up about certain things, little adjustments in the offense and additional coaching points. Obviously got a long history with Nathaniel, so he gives me a lot of latitude to speak up in the meetings, and then just the opportunity to help out Zach and Tim and Chris in the room was a lot of fun.
I wouldn't say it's negative, Rita. Yeah, tell me if you can relate to this. I don't know if it's negativity or if it's just looking at the reality of your existence as a sports fan, and depending on what market you live in. Now, let's say you're a Jets fan, for example. Let's say you're a Jets fan, and let's say you're about 35 years old. So if you're a 35-year-old Jets fan, let's see if my math is all right. That means you were born somewhere in the 80s, 1988. Right?
Nah,
is that right?
Yeah, somewhere right. Yes, about 87, 88. You're right.
All right. So you're born in 1988. You've never seen your team in the Super Bowl. Your highlight came when you saw your team make back-to-back conference championship games.
Yep.
They lost both of them. Of course, they lost both of them. You got the butt fumble as part of your existence. You saw that. That was hilarious. You have missed the playoffs for a dozen years. So you haven't made the playoffs since you were in your 20s, your team. And then Aaron Rodgers, you get Aaron Rodgers. That took forever too. Aaron Rodgers said he wanted to play for your team, and it took 5 years for that trade to happen. It seemed like it.
Aaron Rodgers has also been in the league for this is like his 17th, 18th year, by the way. It's not like prime Aaron.
Yeah, right. You got Aaron Rodgers late. And then when he comes out there, he's got an injury in OTAs.
First day.
Like, I'm telling you, you tell me, Jets fan, what was your first? I want to know what your first thought was. Hey, this is going to be fine, or like, here we go again. What kind of Jets fan are you? All right, and I wouldn't even call it negativity. It's just like, of course. Of course this happens to us. We get Aaron Rodgers late in his career. Old man comes out, and in OTAs, they're in short. Look at he's wearing. He's in shorts and shells. It's not even real football. And he's hurt in May.
In May. I mean, better than September, right? I mean, you said it like, he got 4 months to recover. He should be okay. But the irony of him like not going to OTAs in Green Bay for the last few years and then saying, okay, new team, I'm a new culture. I don't want to say new system because Nathaniel Hackett is his offensive coordinator. He clearly knows the system. But I want to get acclimated with my teammates. So I'm going to, be involved. And then all of a sudden you get injured is the irony is just crazy. And I know a few Jets fans, it does for them feels like, just another thing that we go through, another mishap that we've gone through. This is the story of my life as a Jets fan. Clearly, I don't know any Jets fan that was around when they won the Super Bowl. So there's that. And so they essentially know.
And by the way,
Chad Pennington years. Because look, you forgot that.
It was a different.
It was
a different. Look,
years.
Like I'm gonna make a distinction. We got to break it down.
Okay.
Rita, we have to break it down. If the Super Bowl was played at 2 p.m. Eastern or Central Time, that's a different era, okay? When the Super Bowl was played like in the afternoon, you know what I mean? When the halftime show was like a marching band, they like the local high school, and here comes the big finish. The dude on the drum, boom, 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 boom.
Very true.
Marching band, here we go. They go in a circle. It's not even choreographed. They didn't rehearse it. People are like kind of paying attention to the halftime show wasn't a thing. If your team played in the Super Bowl in that era, it doesn't really count.
You're right.
I'm gonna say Super Bowl III. They weren't even sure they wanted to call it the Super Bowl then. They're like, oh, should we call it the Super Bowl or the championship match between the American Football League and the National Football League? Come on. It's
That's fair.
So long.
But look, they might have been around for Vinny Testaverde. They might have been around for Chad Pennington. So they've seen some good things happen, but clearly not enough good things happen. But to them, this is just another notch under the belt. And I have some Jets friends that didn't even want Aaron Rodgers, quite frankly. They are just like, nothing good is going to come from this. And ironically, Holley, Zach Wilson came in, obviously, for Aaron Rodgers and had a very good OTA. I don't know. Now take that with a grain of salt. I don't know how anybody's going to feel about that, but we know what happened with the Zach Wilson stuff last year.
I love it.
Right?
Now he figures it out.
Exactly.
He's figured it out now. Zach Wilson, wouldn't that be something? Zach Wilson has a masterful OTAs in training camp, making every throw. He outperforms Aaron Rodgers, but now they're stuck. Now you got to play Aaron Rodgers, even though Zach Wilson has figured it out. Now you figure it out after we trade for this guy and his big contract and all this stuff. Now, Gary and Natalie, if you could, you bring those odds back up one more time. I want to ask Rita about this. Those odds, those championship odds are very interesting to me. And you see the Jets on the list. They're fourth in the AFC after the big three. We all agree these are the big three: Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati. No argument there. The Jets at 4 above the Ravens. And I know you know the entire NFL, but you're based in Baltimore. So tell me, honestly, do you think that the Jets look better on paper than the Baltimore Ravens?
No. Listen, I understand why they think that, but I understand Aaron Rodgers. I get it. I understand Sauce Gardner. I get it. I understand that there's some guys that there's some familiarity for. But outside of Lamar Jackson, we're just going to act like Mark Andrews is in a world-class tight end, top 2 tight end in this league. We're going to act like Roquan Smith isn't one of the best linebackers right now in this league. We're going to act like Marlon Humphrey didn't allow any touchdowns on his side of the ball last year. We're going to act like the Ravens don't have one of the best offensive lines and run the ball extremely well. So there's going to be more balance there. It's very interesting to see that they're catapulted the Ravens. Not only just that, are they even better than the Miami Dolphins? Holly. I mean, seriously,
right.
They got some of the fastest dudes, and they made some moves too this offseason. I know that Tua is the biggest question mark there due to his health, but if Tua is healthy, do we really think that the Jets are better than the Miami Dolphins? And this is a legit question here because I don't.
Yeah. I mean, look. There's some needle threading that happens with great teams that we're just kind of leaving out. I feel, and that's really been my problem with the Aaron Rodgers Jets story. They had a great defense last year. The Jets did great defense. Now, if they just had a good quarterback, hell, they would have challenged the Bills, and they beat the Bills last year with Zach Wilson. So now you put in Aaron Rodgers, instead of losing 10 games, they'll win 12. And there's just so much more that goes into it, as you pointed out. I mean, it's not just like with the Ravens, the quarterback that they have, if they can keep him healthy, and the offensive line that they have, and the defense that they have. How about the coaching staff? How about the operation? And the Ravens haven't been themselves. They haven't won a championship in 10 years. But they're a team that is they are a championship organization. I think we all agree with that. They're a team that's their aspiration. They get used to it. They don't brag about losing in the conference championship game as the good old days. Good old days is when they actually won the Super Bowl. And so I wonder if the Jets might be setting themselves up. And I'm not just saying this because, I live in Boston, and Boston and New York, there's always a little friction. I love New York. I do. I really do. But I think that I would bet against the Jets. I would take any kind of odds. I would bet against them because it's a lot to come from 7-10 all the way to conference championship contender. Even if you got Aaron Rodgers, that is a long way to go from the bottom of your division to conference championship contender when your competition didn't get old. Patrick Mahomes he's in his prime.
Yep.
Joe Burrow's still in his prime. But Josh Allen's still in his prime. And as you pointed out, Miami looks pretty good too.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
Look. We don't even know if Aaron Rodgers, is going to be able to stay healthy. We have no idea. Aaron Rodgers, yes, he is a phenomenal quarterback. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. We're all aware of that, right? But we don't know how this is going to work. Again, the AFC East is not just something that you can just say, oh, okay, they might be the third best team in the AFC East. They literally could be competing for second or third in the AFC East.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why we're catapulted. I mean, I am sure. I understand why I get the logic. I'm saying that it's a flawed logic because Aaron Rodgers is not a year younger. He's getting a year older. And we just really don't know how this is all going to pan out. In addition to the fact that there's younger quarterbacks in the same division with just as much talent, if not better talent than what the Jets have right now. So, I mean, look, I get it. It sounds cute. But like you said,
right.
Mahomes got to be thrown off this story. Look, good luck to you, Aaron Rodgers. You are in a plethora of quarterbacks in this conference. You should have stayed in the NFC where it would have been a much easier path to get to the Super Bowl.
Sure.
But yet you wanted to make it hard for yourself and come to the AFC that's already clearly full of good quarterbacks over here.
Well, let me say this. And Gary and Natalie, if you could do me a favor and bring up that Aaron Rodgers, that one picture where you had the pre-practice injury. They said something like that, Aaron Rodgers, the description of the injury. And as you pull that up, I'll say, what I really love about a job, any job, Rita, it's a job that you can learn on the job every day. I learn on this job every day. Listening to you, listening to Mike, whoever I'm working with on a particular day, I learn from them every day. I love that. And I love a job where you can laugh. What's a pre-practice? There it is. Tweet calf.
He was stretching. Now, come on now. Listen, this is where I'm going to be in his favor, though, because as a person who is
Come on now.
you know, sometimes you got to stretch before the stretch, okay? Now, you know, Aaron Rodgers is at the age, he got to pre-stretch before the real stretch.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh, there it is.
You know how this goes. You gotta put the stretch in before you put the real stretch in, right? So he
Hold on, y'all. I'm almost ready.
Wasn't ready yet.
I'm almost ready.
Hey man, somebody gotta tell Aaron. Aaron gotta call Tom Brady or something, because I know there's a regimen for people his age and that still plays football that he can still stay in shape. He can't just do these things like he used to. He gotta do some pre work now.
It's May. It's May. You in shorts. It's May.
Get some man some stretches, exercise.
All right, Reeta, I wasn't surprised, but I was disappointed. Not surprised the NFL owners decided to flex Thursday Night Football with notice, like that 30-day notice, 28 days, and they can flex Thursday Night Football games. What did you think of it? I see in your feed that you say you're not a fan. Why not?
Not a fan. You know, the NFL likes to try to tell us that they are about player safety, yet they continue to do things that shows that they are not about player safety. They added an additional game without expanding the roster. That is not player safety to me. Then you decide that you want to add, you want to do these flexes with Thursday Night Football. I don't care if it's 30 days out. It is not safe to do that. And then ultimately, what about the people that make their plans to go to these games? They don't matter.
That's right.
They don't care.
That's right.
They have to now change their plans because you decide from a TV perspective that this is a better matchup to put on than what you originally had. Well, that's not fair. And that's saying to us, the people that actually invest in going to the games, that you don't care about those people. You care about what the networks want and the networks think, because they're the ones that giving you top dollar. I just think that it's a bad look all around. And I never liked the Thursday Night Football ideal from the beginning. It's always been something that I've been against, because I feel like player safety is not something that's being practiced with these types of games. But really, this makes, to me, just it further pushes the narrative that they don't care about players. That's it.
All it took was a couple of owners to say, no, we can't do this, but it passed 24-8. Only a couple of owners needed to say, or one said, no, we can't do this. And I think it would have saved the NFL from itself. In a little bit of time we have left, I know you're excited about college football. It seems like you're probably picking Ohio State to win the national championship this year.
No.
100 days from college football. No? What?
No. Unfortunately, the Gator fan in me has to accept the fact that Georgia, until somebody brings them down, they're going to be the new Alabama. And I hate to say that, but I'm looking forward to all the great games. T-minus 100 days. I'm excited.
That's how my new year started. My first moment of the new year was watching that kick go way left for Ohio State. That's how my year started. It's ridiculous.
Thanks,
Good job,
guys.
Reeta.
I was rooting
Crushing
for y'all.
it as
I was so
usual.
mad. Listen, when Marvin Harrison went out, I said, that's the game right there. I knew it. I said Marvin Harrison went down. I said, because he was killing them.
Yeah.
Soon as he went down.
And that last drive, I said, we need about 7 more yards.
Yep. I said the same thing.
Yeah, he wasn't ready. I was like, he ain't gonna make this.
I don't even like rooting for Ohio State, man. But I was a Buckeyes fan that day. I was like, I'm rooting hard for Ohio State.
I turned it. As soon as it came off his foot, I said, okay. All right, forget it.
Sorry,
we're done. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.